Have you ever wondered if you could take a product that seems to be everywhere on the market and turn it into a high-end product? Well, if you have, this episode is for you because we're talking about taking a blanket. Yes, everybody owns a blanket, and turning it into a high-end product. All right, get ready. On today's podcast episode, let's go. Hey, friend, welcome to today's podcast episode. Today's a big podcast. We are on episode 100. Yes, we broke the triple digits in podcast land. We are ranking on average top 50 in the entrepreneur world. So thank you so much. We've got over 700 reviews, and that's because of you posting, resharing, downloading, subscribing, putting on Instagram, and tagging. It means so much to me. And it means so much to the guests that I get to bring on. So you can hear their stories and what they were able to do and how they can teach you to help you grow your businesses. If I didn't have this platform of the reviews and rating and downloads, I couldn't get them on. So thank you so much for constantly sharing. It does not go unnoticed. So big heart to you that we were able to hit 100 and celebrate together. And with that celebration, I wanted to bring you a gift of a gal who I've known. We started our businesses about the same time. So she built a company around blankets. Everybody's like, oh, but blankets are so saturated. Really? I don't know about that. She built a beautiful business and then is able to charge high-end prices. She doesn't want to be the cheapest in the market. She wants to build this beautiful high-end brand, and that's what she has done. In fact, I love these blankets so much that I think we've got one in every single room. And then this was the gift that I remember one time I gave this blanket to my grandma for Christmas, and it actually caused a little tiff between grandma and grandpa, and they didn't fight, but grandpa kept trying to steal it from grandma. And so I eventually had to get grandpa his own blanket. That's how good these blankets are. Like, you have to buy one for everyone in your home. Because maybe some fighting might happen. They're that good of a blanket. But a reason why I wanted to bring her on for the 100th celebration is we started around the same time. I think it's going to help break some of the beliefs that you cannot sell a high-end product. You totally can. And how you can sell what other people are selling and create this beautiful legacy of a company that she has built. And I think you're really going to enjoy that. So let's dive into the celebratory 100th episode with Emily from Saranoni Blankets so that you can learn how to build your beautiful online brand. It doesn't have to be the cheapest down there. Walmart's already got that, right? Low price leader, they've already won that. No, let's build high quality brands out there and serve our audience to the highest level because they deserve it. And so do you. All right, let's dive into today's podcast episode. Emily, I am so excited you're here on the podcast.
Yay!
I love talking to you. Love talking to you. Okay, will you tell everybody a little bit about you and what you do?
Well, I am a mother of 6. I have kids that range in age from 5 to 19. And we also,
19-year-old?
I have a 19-year-old. So went to college for the first time this year and then down to a 5-year-old. So
that's a big range.
That is a big range, but we love it. We love every little bit of it. I've got a break between number 5 and number 6 where I had miscarriages and a stillborn, and having this little end Grace has been the highlight of our life. So
she is so sweet. Such a cute little kid.
So fun.
So, yes, Kate, keep going.
And then we own Saranoni, which is a luxury blanket business. Woohoo!
Love your blankets.
Yeah, so cozy and warm. We love it. We do everything from baby blankets all the way to adult blankets. And then we have robes and a few gifts items.
Did you just introduce a muslin line today? Did I see that?
You know what? We had a restock. So we've had muslin right from the beginning. I actually did muslin, but it hasn't been our signature product. Mm-hmm. But we have adult blankets in muslin, and they sold out really quick on Black Friday. And so we have had a long time before we've had a restock of those adult muslin quilts. And so that's what happened yesterday. Yay.
I saw them pop up today and I'm like, I'm going to get one because living here in Puerto Rico, I'm like, that would be the perfect blanket here.
Yes.
Not too
totally
heavy.
Breathable, but it gets you the weight and the warmth that you need, but you don't get sweaty and hot in places like where you live, right?
I actually have one of your turquoise blankets on my bed, and I love it. I love it.
So how long have you had that? How long have you had that?
I think I got it at Christmas. I bought it for me for a Christmas present.
So it's probably been several years ago, right?
No, because I had to leave all of my ones in Utah. Okay. And so I had to have new ones shipped to Puerto Rico. And Jared rolls his eyes. He's like, "You buying more blankets?" And I'm like,
Yeah, they're fun.
They are. So I'm so excited to buy another one from you.
Yeah.
Okay. So can we roll back to when you first started and you're like, I think I want to start selling blankets. Why did you, everybody sells blankets, right? You can go to Walmart, you can go into Costco. Why did blankets, like what turned you on to looking into the blanket market?
Yeah. So maybe I'll back up a little bit to kind of help you understand our journey. I decided to start a business. I was a young mom. I had 3 children at the time. And we had our oldest daughter, Eliza, was born with microtia. And microtia is a condition where the ear doesn't form, the outer and middle ear, and some people, the inner ear also. And it actually was not supposed to be an inherited birth defect, but I actually was born with it myself. But so I was told that, it was just kind of a one-time thing, that it wasn't something that my children could have. And then my first daughter's born and she has microtia, except hers was a little more intense than mine, I guess, not as developed as mine. And she was just born with a little earlobe. So no ear canal, no outer ear, and no middle ear. And as a young mom, we decided that we were going to look into the surgery option where they're able to build an ear. And we discovered about the time, because you have to be a certain age, we went out and visited this doctor out in California, and that was going to look at building an ear for her. They had to be a certain age to be able to have that happen. So I had 3 kids by that time. And we go out there and we learn that it is considered a cosmetic surgery. So it's considered like a boob job or some other cosmetic surgery, and the insurance wouldn't cover it. So we had to pay 100%, and it was a surgery that was $100,000 plus. And so that was
tucked under your blanket.
Yeah. What did you say?
You just didn't have that tucked under your mattress?
Have that in savings as a young couple. So that's actually how our whole journey started, is with this need and this desire to be able to help our daughter. And so I just thought, well, my husband's working. What could I do as a young mother at home with kids to be able to make this happen for our daughter? And so I decided, I was in the thick of motherhood. I had kids that were ages, newborn 2 and 4 at the time. And so I was into baby products. I was into using all these different things, and I love to dress my kids cute and nice. And so I started looking around at baby things. And at that time, like Etsy really wasn't a thing. Instagram certainly wasn't. Facebook wasn't. So you know how old I am. And way back, that was in 2006. So this is a long journey. This isn't a short journey for Saranoni. But I started to look at things, and I remember Nathan's business would always give us gift baskets whenever we had a child, and they were just cheap. And I knew they had spent a lot of money, and there was like good intention behind it, but I felt like it was stuff I just wanted to throw away. And so I came up with the concept that I would have baby gift baskets. And so Saranoni actually started as a baby gift basket company.
I didn't know that.
It didn't start as a blanket company. So we didn't go all blankets till 2000, close to 2010 is when we made that change. And we can talk about that a little bit later. But I decided to start buying wholesale and creating gift baskets. At the same time, we had this desire when we created the business that we wanted to be able to help people in third world countries. And so I started sourcing and looking and working with women in Peru, a man in India, and we started creating baby products. So I had blessing outfits made and smocked down in Peru by these women. I had sterling silver bracelets made in India. I had just little sweater outfits made from the women in Peru. And so I was buying some people's products wholesale. And then I was also, sourcing my own product, developing all these own products. And I wanted to add a baby blanket to the basket. But when I found the one that I thought was a high enough quality that I wanted to give, it was going to double the price of our gift basket. And I was like, there's no way people would pay that. And so that's like where the blanket journey began. And the blanket was just only like one piece out of the whole gift basket. And so that's how Saranoni was started and was born. It was born as a gift basket company, and it remained a gift basket company and I loved it. I loved working with these people in different countries. I felt like I was doing good. We wanted service to be and helping others to be a key element of our business. And so I felt like, I'm doing this side of things and I'm working with these people in different countries. I'd stay up till like 2 and 3 in the morning communicating with all these people. And I was loving that. But then I guess it got to a point, I think we were 4 years into our journey. And I'm talking probably my journey at this point. My husband wasn't very involved. He was very supportive. He obviously let me spend the money, and I was pretty good at that, at spending money. But I was just working in my basement, and I wanted to be able to help these people. So I was, I had minimum orders, and I clearly wasn't selling that, but I was just buying because I had these minimum orders, and I was wanting to help these people. And basically, I kind of ran it for fun and not quite like a business. And after 4 years, I remember my husband like coming to me at the end of the year and just being like, Emily, like, look at the financials. Like, this is really fun and this is nice. And this is it was my outlet. I probably should have taken up exercise instead, but I didn't. That was like my creative outlet. Some people go exercise, and that's kind of their creative outlet or their outlet to from having a bunch of young kids. But this was my outlet. And after those 4 years, he was like, whoa, we can't keep doing this. And so that was the first time that we really sat down and looked at things hard and where we had to make a pivot in our business. And that was hard for me because where I got the most joy and felt most fulfilled was being able to work with these people in these countries where I felt like I was making a difference in their lives. And but when it came down to like looking at the financials, that's not what was making us money. So by this time, I had started sourcing blankets, our own blankets. And when it came down to the financials, the blankets were the things that were bringing us the greatest value, bringing us the money that was carrying the business basically, and nothing else really was. And so that's when Saranoni became a blanket business. That's when we made that shift, we made that pivot, and it was hard and it was sad because I really wanted to be doing these other things, with these people, because I had set that as a core value for this company. And that was one of them. And I was like, I don't want to let go of that. That's one of the things that makes me, brings me the most fulfillment. But I've been able to see how the other doors have been opened, that I've been able to do the same thing. So at that point, we dropped everything and we became a blanket business at that point.
Okay, so what does Saranoni mean?
Okay, Saranoni doesn't mean anything. It was named after 2 great grandmothers. So my great grandmother, or I should start with Nathan's great grandmother. her name is Sarah Benson. She grew up in Whitney, Idaho. And we took our two great grandmothers, these amazing women, and we based like everything from our business off of Sarah and Noni. So Noni was my great grandma. Sarah was his great grandmother. They had like beautiful families, and their faith and their family and serving others were like their key focuses. And so we wanted the name to be able to remind us that we had those same core values, that our faith comes first, our family comes next, and then last, that we wanted to be able to serve and to be able to help others. And we based the whole, they were very classic people. They both actually had businesses. Sarah Benson ran the family farm. Her oldest was 12 years old, and she was pregnant with her 8th when her husband was called on a mission for his church. And so then she had to run the business, had to run the family business, but she had these children, you know. And so, and then Noni, my grandmother, she had a ceramics business, and she was known all over for her ceramics, but she also helped troubled youth. And that was her outlet to be able to serve them and help them. And she taught them how to do ceramics. And so basically we wanted the business to remind us of those things, that faith, family, and serving and helping others needs to be at our core. And so that's why we named the business Saranoni.
That makes me love it even more.
Fun.
That's such a cool name. Such a cool name. Okay, so let's go back. So you're selling the baby stuff. Yeah. At this point, did you have a huge warehouse?
No. Oh. Okay. Yep. No. Huge warehouse. In fact, we were in this house that we are in now. It's our first home that we owned, that we bought when we had Eliza was 2 years old, and I was filling orders out of the basement. I work at my computer at my desk, and then I would fill orders in the basement. And really for several years that's how I functioned. Women would come to my basement to buy products. We eventually got to the point that we had a storage unit, which I live up in Cache Valley, and it is really cold in here, very cold, lots of snow during the winter. And I remember this was after we had made the shift to just blankets, but I would do flash sale sites. That's how I started to get my name out. And so we were on baby steals. And that's really a lot of my growth came from doing these flash sale sites that were big back at a time, and continue to go, Zulily, Pick Your Plum, like all these different sites. And so I remember getting an order from them, and I was like, Nathan, my husband, and I are out in like dead of winter, like freezing. Our kids are in the van, and we're out there like in a storage unit, just trying to like dig through things and fill orders and put boxes and, product in boxes. And oh my gosh. So definitely it is, our journey has gone from like basement to storage unit to like sharing an office to finally being able to lease where we would have our own warehouse. So it has not been pretty the whole time. It was part of the journey. I think a lot of times we just, we look at other businesses and we just see, and I remember actually looking at you and looking at Pick Your Plum and being like, how does she do it? I don't know how to do it. And really back in our days, and we didn't have people and resources to go to. I mean, now you can like research everything. I remember like, we didn't have the resources. We couldn't just like say, oh, hey, there's this another person that owns a business, and I just want to go talk to them and pick their brain. I mean, that didn't happen back then. You know what I mean? And we didn't have these platforms that we could just like instantaneously, put up a website and have opportunities for sales, or start Instagram. Like we didn't have that. And it was tough stuff. I felt like I felt alone a lot, trying to just figure out like, how do I do this? And it just took so much time, so much effort to actually be able to do things that people just nowadays, it's so much easier to be able to do, So anyway, I don't remember where we were at, but it always hasn't. I think we look at businesses And we think, oh, like that's where I should be. Why am I not there? And they don't realize that, for so many years, I was just in the basement. And for so many years, I would go to like craft fairs because I came from like a financial services business. I didn't know how to sell a product online. And so we put up a website and I was like, well, where are the sales? Like, why, why aren't we selling? Right. And I think a lot of times that's what happened. That's how it happened. And so I started going like to craft fairs and we'd load up our trailer and I would come out of there and like, I was lucky if I got $300. I remember one time and being like, I left like all my kids, drove down to Salt Lake in our trailer, went, I'm like, I had $300 in sales. Like, is this seriously worth it? And so I think it's a journey, it's a process to be able to get, it has been for us at least. And I think most people, I think we need to be able to realize that it doesn't just come overnight. It just doesn't come easily. It wasn't easy for me, at least. I don't know about other people, but for me, it wasn't,
Don't you wish we could go back to that point and hop on a Zoom and be like, Emily, I'm struggling with this in my business. Can you help me? And you'd be like, yeah, Alison, this is what we did. Or, hey, Alison, what about this? Like, we didn't have that. When you said you felt alone, I was right there with you, but we didn't know each other for a while. And then even when we did get to know each other, we didn't know that was a thing because we were so in the weeds with our businesses that we didn't realize how powerful being around other entrepreneurs could actually be for our business.
So there's no question that I would tell someone. I mean, I even find it hard for me to do that now because I'm like, what are they going to think? And do they think I'm going to I'm trying to figure out things for myself, but really it's just like, this is hard. I don't know how to do this. I don't know the best way to do this. Do you have any thoughts, any advice? And so I would just, for sure, turn to other people, ask them. I had told so many people like, I'll be a resource, Phil, because I didn't feel like I had those resources. So definitely feel like the opportunity is there now. We can see other businesses more because we have these platforms. We can talk, we can communicate more. So use those tools to be able to help your business and grow your business and get insights from other business owners.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So 2 things that I want to ask you. So you moved to an online store, and what did you use to help get traffic to your store? Because if you build it, no one comes. You have to drive traffic. What were some of the things that you did to start driving traffic?
Yeah. So like I said earlier, I think we worked with flash sale sites, with marketing companies, so to say. I looked at everything as like a marketing expense. So I didn't look at it and say, oh my gosh, I'm not going to hardly make any money on this sale. I looked at it like, this is how I'm going to get my name out. This is how I'm going to, have people know about Saranoni. So the platforms were definitely flash sale sites. And then second would probably be when Instagram and Facebook were introduced, that we really started focusing on those platforms. That was kind of the direction from an online standpoint. Now, we did make a strategic move. As I looked at the journey, there were just those times that were just so hard, when you're ready to give up, when you're just ready to be done. Yeah. And clearly each of those times I can look back and say, when I was like done, like I remember one night laying in bed and being like, Nathan, I'm like done. Like I could give up Saranoni tomorrow. I had 5 kids at the time. Nathan was getting his MBA at Duke and was doing online stuff. He had his regular business that he was working for. And so I was just running everything. So I was like the person speaking with the suppliers. I was filling all the orders. I was doing all the marketing. I was doing everything. And really my kids and my family were my number one priority. So I was, trying to put my focus there and then not sleeping at night to do the other things, But there came a point where I just said to him, turned to him one night and just said like, okay, I'm done. Like if it remains like this, I can't keep going. And that's where probably our second pivot, that first pivot I kind of talked about being the pivot of like realizing we weren't making money and saying what was making money, and kind of going back to our core and saying, why do we have this business? I think that's something that every time we've gone back when we've had to make changes or been in a situation, to be able to ask that question, why? Having a strong why do you have your business, and having that really outlined and concrete in your mind. For us, it was a little easier. We had a daughter that we were trying to help and to provide for these surgeries for. But whenever we've asked ourselves that why, when we wanted to quit, we've like, why did we start this? What are we doing? We're able to go back to those core values, those core goals that we set, and then say to ourselves, okay, do we want to keep doing it? Do we feel good? And we've been able to make these pivots. So the first one came when we changed just to blankets. And then I would say the second major change or pivot we made was when, at that point, when I was laying in bed and I said, I can't do this anymore, we decided that we would go wholesale, that we'd sell our blankets wholesale. So we went to the biggest baby show that there was at the time. And we, invested in a booth. We paid money to look bigger than we actually were. And that was when we started going wholesale. We started to get our name out there. So in answer to your question, I think there were a couple things, key things that led to getting the name out. And that was who we worked with as far as flash sale sites, that we did go wholesale. So our products started to be sold in other businesses, baby boutiques mainly, and then, laying hold of Instagram and Facebook.
Okay. That makes sense. Now you're huge online though. I was looking today, you've got 7,400 reviews on your website. So you were doing wholesale. Then at what point did you start going back to online customer?
We were kind of working both at the same time, to be honest. We were working both, but I think the online really started to take off as we started to embrace Instagram and Facebook and some of the social platforms. I didn't mean Instagram. I meant working with influencers. And then we use them, obviously, through Instagram, where they're sharing their stories, they're telling about our blankets. And it really has changed our business as we've worked with those influencers.
I love working with influencers. That was my strategy. That's still my strategy.
Yeah.
And I see holding your blankets and like rubbing them on their face, their kids' faces, all over the place.
If you can get them to love your product, I mean, once you have a good product, that's the whole key, right? We're trying to get people to love our product. How do we do that? Well, now, I mean, back then when I first started, I couldn't do that. Now we can do that. And so, our marketing money, we've got to set aside, we have a pie that we create, and we set aside a certain amount that has to be sent to influencers. And then we break that pie down even further from not just influencers, but the type of influencers. Is it home decor people? Are they, personal products? Are they other businesses? And so are they ones that follow our branding, that look like us, that feel like us, so that we can reuse their photos and reuse their videos. So I think the key as we work on Instagram is not just to spend our time posting and shouting out about our product. The key to Instagram is actually influencers. That's what it's all about. So that then you send your product, they love your product, and then the word begins to spread.
Yeah, because 7,400 reviews, that's amazing. I will be hitting refresh until I get to 10,000 though, because that's a huge number.
Yeah, we're really grateful. You know what? Our customers, we love them. I that's a lot of the things, times when you get discouraged, I'm like, oh, but these people, and just knowing and believing that our product can bring comfort to people. It can provide comfort from everyone from a little baby to, the toddler, all the way up to like someone that's going through a hard time, dealing with cancer, divorce, just sadness. I just, when I think of the customers and and I guess hoping our product helps them, then that's when I'm like, okay, this is worth it. So we're so grateful for those customers because they just are so good to just love our blankets. I'm just so grateful. We've got a lot of customers that.
How do you encourage them to leave comments? Do you follow up with emails? Like, what's the strategy behind getting that? That's a massive amount of reviews.
Yeah. And you know what? I would say that's been in 2 years. I wish I was where I could ask someone if that's been, but I believe it's just been 2 years that we have gotten those reviews.
You are a queen of reviews.
Well, you know what? I would say, I mean, I don't want to brag too much, but I think
you own it.
It's our product. I think it's our product. People are good when they get the product, they get it for their baby and they love it for their baby, but then they're like, this is so soft, and they can see that it brings a lot of comfort, and it ends up becoming like something that everyone in the family wants.
Yeah. We all fight over it.
I believe in our product, and then people they're good. And we do follow up, once they place that order, we have a system that sends out a request for a review. Okay. Kind of,
yeah. But really, like, I remember when I got my first Saranoni blanket, it legitimately caused a fight in the family because I got it for me. And then my husband wanted it. And then all my kids wanted it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. The whole family wants this blanket. And of course, then we have to buy one for everybody. So it went from 1 to 6. And then I was gifting them to my mom, to grandma and grandpa. They would touch it and they're like, it's so soft, I can't even feel it. Like, that's the quality of it. It is so unbelievable.
Yeah, I think that's what has been great is that we hear those stories and we love hearing those stories. My husband stole my blanket, or like my husband gives it to the wife for Mother's Day, and then before she knows it, like he's taken it away. And we don't think of like husbands wanting blankets, but they do. They love them, and kids do. So I think there's a level of quality that we've worked really, really hard at Saranoni to keep. And those are some of the core values. We look to those women, and kind of back then, that was so important to them. The hard work, the quality, and that everything is made with such care. And so we have worked really hard. We don't buy any stock fabric. We don't go and buy a roll of fabric and make a blanket. We knit all of our own fabrics, everything from the muslin to the lush to our bamboni, everything we do all that ourselves so that we can control that quality and maintain our standards of softness, of quality, of weight. And I think it's all those elements that really wrap things up to make a great product. And so it's cost us more, but it's been worth it, to be able to keep that level of quality that people will have for years. You talk to people, we do these things on Instagram, and literally people are like, I still have this blanket. It's been over 10 years, and they'll take pictures. I'm like, 10 years. Okay. Did you get your money's worth? So I think maintaining that level of quality has made a difference for us.
One thing that I love, you keep talking about quality, is a lot of times people, when they go out in the market with a product, they feel like they have to be the low price leader and be the lowest and lowest. And you're like, no, these products are amazing. They're going to last you 10 years. And I love how you are a luxury blanket and you own that. You're like the Nordstroms, where a lot of other people that sell blankets tend to become like the Walmart of blanket selling. Right. And I love that you've infused you've got this strong story, and now you're giving back too, right? Do you want to talk about that as well?
That's such a fun part for us, or for me personally, because I thought that was lost, right? When I had to give up working with those people from India, from Peru. And I was like, wait, that's one of the main reasons I started this business, is to be able to help people in other countries. Mm-hmm. And so it's just so fun. We do it in multiple ways. The first and foremost is we have women that sew our blankets, We're not in big, huge high rises in China, and that makes a difference for me personally. It does mean that a lot of times our blankets are out of stock, and we're trying to remedy that. But we do have women that are able to work from their home and be able to stay in their home. So I love being able to give back and be able to like affect the one individual that way. But some of the fun things we've been able to do working in different countries, we specifically have two blankets. One is our mud cloth, and the mud cloth has an African design on it, and there are symbols that mean family, that mean love in it that people probably really don't know, but people from the Mali area are who we support. And so those are some tribal signs from that area. But it goes to YAYY Africa is the organization we work with. And we have, do everything from like uniforms for kids in schools to helping the kids run a chicken business there. And so we put our money towards like helping these kids know how to run a business. So we support that organization. We love it. Their main goal is to be able to get children out of the cocoa fields, out of child labor, and be able to educate them and be able to help them learn how to support themselves. And so we work with Siri Kona there. He's an awesome man, and we love YAYY Africa. And one we've been able to do over the last couple of years, we just started donating ourselves to Vision Cambodia. And Vision Cambodia does several different things. It was actually a roommate of my husband from college that introduced us and actually started it. But a few things that we support there are allowing women to have babies in hospitals. So he was helping them with their water system and getting wells to people in remote areas that would have to travel miles for water. Then their water was horrible, and obviously sickness and disease and everything else stem from that. But he was helping them get wells in rural areas. And one day he was there and he heard all this commotion, went over, and he was like, "What is happening over there?" They went over there and it was a woman having a baby in the rice fields. And he was like, "What? Why? Like, how does this happen?" And they just said, like, they don't earn enough to be able to go have their baby in a hospital. And so he created a voucher program where they are able to get, if they sign up for it ahead of time, a moped ride to the hospital, 2 to 3 days in a clinic where they're able to have their baby, and then a moped ride home. And so many infants die in Cambodia because they don't have the proper care. And so I love that because I just feel it just resonates with our brand, everything that we're doing, supporting mothers, allowing them to have babies in clinics. And so those are the two things that Vision Cambodia, and they have an education arm too. But it was really fun. We were able to release our Kamai blanket, and that portion of the proceeds of every single Kamai blanket sold, whether it be the mini all the way up to the home throw, it goes to support this organization. And I love this organization because the two key people in it don't take any money. So it's not like that's their business, and they have their own businesses. They do really well, but it's a desire they have to help others. And so it's all Cambodian employees for all that. There's no one that takes money here in the US for it or from that organization. So anyway, and our beautiful blankets, our Kamai blanket, our mud cloth, we've been able to, on our launch, I believe we did, I'm not going to remember the numbers now, but I think and there were 75 women during our launch that were able to, just from the launch of that week of our launch, that were able to have babies in clinics just from our launch. And I can't remember how many wells, lots of wells. So it's kind of fun, and it's an ongoing thing. I love that we just continually get to help these people in Cambodia and in Africa. So,
oh my gosh, your heart is gold. You started this as wanting to serve your baby, and then you wanted to give others jobs to serve them. And then coming back around to it, now you're serving these women on such a higher level. So I'm going to ask you one last question. Let's go back to the Emily 10 years ago who was selling these baby sets, these baby kits. What would you tell her today? What advice would you give her?
Yeah. First off, I would say the road is not easy. And I think if I would have recognized that it was going to be difficult and that it was like I was going to want to quit sometimes, but at those moments where I wanted to quit and where it was really hard, those are the most critical points to our business growing and changing at those points. And so sometimes when we get to those hard points, we want to give up, and maybe just embracing that it's hard and being able to look at it and go back to your whys and go back to why you're doing what you're doing. And if you can believe in that, and if you can look at things and then say, okay, what can I do at this hard point? What needs to be done to make changes? What pivots do I need to make to be able to change what's going on right now? I was just trying to weather the storm, and I was just like, what? And I couldn't see that the green grass was going to come soon. That would eventually come. I could only see, I was just in it. I was just in the weeds. And I wish I would have, so number one, that it's hard. And then during those hard times, maybe embrace the hard and to be able to take the time to say, what changes, what pivots do I need to make to be able to make it look different and make it work for me or for the business. And then I do wish I would have been able to climb to the top of the tree. We've heard that story of like, we've got an army of people, they're in this jungle and they've got machetes and we're just working away as hard as we can. We're trying to get to where they needed to go. But finally someone's like, okay, I'll climb to the top of the tree. They got smart, I'm going to climb to the top of the tree. And they were able to look and see where they were going and a totally different perspective. So I think taking time to not just work in the business the whole time, even if you're the only person in there, to be able to take time to be able to climb to the top of the tree and be able to have a perspective like, where do I want to go with this? What do I want it to look like? Instead of just taking that machete and just like, we're going through the jungle and we just keep going through the jungle, when we can actually go up to the top of the tree, look, have a different perspective, see where do we want to go, where, and then we can go back down. But now we know we have a more direct line, a direct, route to where we want to be. If we're able to not just work in the business, but be able to work on the business.
Oh, so good. That's so good. I always tell myself, I wish I could go back to that version of Alison who's so scared to death and just tell her, thank you. Thank you for standing up and sitting down with a baby in hand and hitting that submit button, not knowing what direction, not knowing where to go, but just starting. So thank you for sharing that, because it's fun to hear your journey. I didn't know all the pieces, and it's been so fun to be able to grow right alongside with you and cheer you on.
You're one that I always looked up to and still are. So you're amazing.
Oh, I seriously appreciate you. And seriously, I snuggle with my blanket every single night. Every single night. It's there. I don't sleep.
One of those muslin ones.
I know. I'm going to go order that next, because Jared, he kicks it off because it's too hot for him, but I think he'll absolutely love this muslin one. So I'm going to go check it out. Okay. Where can everybody find you?
So Saranoni.com. And then on Instagram and Facebook, we are Saranoni Blanket. So at Saranoni Blanket.
Go over, everybody that's listening right now, go over, like her Instagram page, go follow her on Facebook. And can you give us a hint on when your next sale is?
So everyone, if you're interested in trying out a Saranoni blanket, then watch our Instagram, follow us on Instagram, and over the next couple of weeks, we will announce the sale date once we're able to confirm that. So,
and then you have to be on the email list, right, to be able to get early bird access?
Yeah. So if you join our Facebook Snuggler group, or if you're on our texting or email groups, then you'll have early access, and we do sell out quickly. So
you have to be on the early access or you don't get it. Like you're a brilliant marketer. You're an absolute brilliant marketer. I love getting those emails. I love the anticipation that you build, and I love getting refreshed and saying sold out, sold out, sold out. After I bought mine, that is. It gives me anxiety.
I'm glad you got it.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, Emily, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Alison, for having me. And seriously, you're just doing amazing things. And I continue to look up to you and everything that you've done. So thank you so much for having me.
All right, diving into Emily's top 10 takeaways. All right, number 1, it's okay to pivot. Oh man, I'm raising my hand on that. I pivot all the time. I think that's part of entrepreneurship, is we're constantly pivoting to say, okay, what works? What doesn't work? Stop doing stuff that doesn't work and focus on what does work. Number 2, know your financials. You've got to know your money, because if you know your money, then that's going to show you the direction that you're supposed to go. We don't have to guess. We can actually look at numbers and it can tell us the direct way to go. Number 3, incorporate core values into your brand. What do you stand for? Can you bring them into your branding of your business? I know with Pick Your Plum, mine was to be able to buy in bulk and help save people money. That was my core value. I didn't have any money. So my mission was to help other people save money as well. Oh, and then when I built Pillows, one of my core values was being with family. And so my core value was starting pillow fights. And I was able to bring that in because when I started pillow fights with my kids, we'd laugh so hard and it would create bonds with us. So incorporate core values into your branding. All right, next one. It is a journey and a process. It does not come overnight. Overnight success. Hear any of those stories? You haven't done your research. There's no such thing as an overnight success. Go back, do the research, and really find that true story that someone is talking about. Number 5, turn to other people in your industry and ask for help. Guess what? They might tell you no, they might ignore you, but that's okay. Because some are going to say yes and willing to help you where you are at and what specific problems you have. Number 6, have a strong why in your business, because if that why is not strong enough, it's not going to get you through the tough times. Saranoni blanket is a perfect example of this. Quality, quality, quality. You can have a strong, beautiful product, and it does not need to be the cheapest on the market. Emily shows this over and over and over to us. Embrace the hard times in your business. Usually that's the thing that's telling you that you're not going the right direction, or the thing that you have to absolutely learn and conquer before you can move to the next stage in your business. So embrace those hard things, because that is what is helping you to grow. And then the next thing, take time to find perspective from the top and not always work in your business. All right. I hope you love that podcast episode. I have so many Saranoni blankets in my home. I sleep with one on my bed. My boys have them, and they're on all of our couches. I truly, truly love what Emily has built, this beautiful product that helps us to get cozy as a family and helps me sleep better. It is such a beautiful product. And it was so fun being able to hear her story of how she's built this. All right, go over to Saranoni Blankets on her Instagram feed and tell her that you heard about this interview. And then while you're there, pick up a blanket or two. They'll be well worth it. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.